Hello, my name is Ming. Today we're going to go over the top 5 beginner mistakes for AI automation agencies. So a little bit about my background and why you should listen to me. I started an AI automation agency near the end of 2023 and we grew it to 1.3 million ARR in a span of 12 months. And since then we've become a AI agency vendor platform that provides the backbones and the infrastructure to power agencies. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing on the list is basically over-engineering when clients need simple wins. So I think a lot of people go on YouTube and watch very complicated tutorials on how to set XYZ up. I'm going to show you a quick Reddit post that basically describes what the 80% or 90% of the customer pain is when it comes to creating a voice AI automation agency. So let's have a quick look at this particular Reddit post, right? So I hate phone calls. This is the emotional component of what the client is experiencing. I hate answering the phone. I hate returning phone calls. I just hate it unless it's a scheduled call. You guys can read, the rest of it later. Here's what they actually just want. I literally just want someone who can take the call, write down the important info, and or give the details they're asking for. So many times I've seen people overcomplicate this particular instruction. They want to make, a calendar agent, someone that can warm transfer, maybe integrate into their PMS or CRM system, or the ability to upsell on the call. All of these are features and nice to have, but they don't inherently solve the customer pain. The customer pain is very straightforward. I literally just want someone who can take the call. Most businesses are too busy to even come to the phone because it would disrupt whatever they're currently doing. And so predominantly what you're selling them on is the ability to remove this particular pain point. And this particular example segues to my next point, which is not understanding the emotions of sales. Now, there are two components that I want to talk about here. One is basically pain reduction, and the other one is value addition or value add. So in this particular case, the customer is experiencing pain. They want this pain to go away, and that is, I don't want to pick up phone calls because it gives me anxiety, right? So let's say you go on a call with this particular person. And the call starts off with, hey, how are you? Your casual greetings. And you sort of ask, so, you've inquired about my form. I'm just reaching out. So what can we help you with? Right? The customer's going to say something like, I just get too many phone calls, blah, 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 blah. Right? Now, at this point, I notice that a lot of people just start pitching their particular product and, how much value or whatever they can bring. I think a lot of people need to shut up and just listen to what the customer has to say, because the first part is sort of building rapport and making sure that you're confident and being able to solve this particular problem for them. Right? If it's pain reduction, it'll be something, I totally get that. We've helped with a lot of other customers. The phone just keeps on ringing that, they're up in a tree, cutting down a tree as an arborist, or, they're window cleaning or doing plumbing job. The phone just rings and, it's a hassle because they have to stop what they're doing to answer the phone call. Totally get it. You build some sort of rapport and you understand to show that you actually understand exactly what they are going through. And this is particularly important because you need to understand the emotional sales, because there are two components here, right? So we just talked about the pain reduction, but there is another customer that wants the value addition. They will typically go in the call and be like, yeah, my phone rings a lot and I'm just don't have the time to answer it all. And I'm missing out a lot of customers. Now we know this particular customer is a more value-centric, or they don't want to leave stuff on the table. And this is a strong distinction to make, because a customer who wants the pain reduction, they don't want more business. In fact, they want the opposite. They want less business. They want less phone calls because that's what's causing them pain. Contrary to the other business owner, they want more business. They have the capacity to take on more, but they're not present to bring on more business. Because a customer going through a pain reduction is doing their due diligence. They need to answer the phone because it's a customer inquiring. They want to provide a top tier service. The other side of the business is they want to capture more value and grow as a business. So it's important to know where the pain point is and the emotion of sales. So for the purpose of completeness, when you come to a value add for a particular customer, you will say something like, yeah, totally understand. When a customer, added this system into their business, able to bring on, extra $6,000 per month in sales, and it's a life changer for them. Instead of calling back the particular customer and letting this customer walk to another competitor, the AI is able to capture on the phone, and that's additional basically revenue in your pocket. So read the room, read what their needs are, and read what their emotions are telling you, where their pain actually is. They might say it's something, but ask and communicate with the customer. Be a person who want to support them, not so much a salesperson. Now, the third one is actually pretty big, and I think that's a lack of education, lack of experience. So a lot of people price too low or charge hourly instead of value-based. And I've seen a lot of people lose deals over this pretty frequently, more so than I thought. So by way of example, we have a couple strategies in our blog on our website. It says white label AI profit margin. Now, what I want to talk about here is at a lower price point, a lot of people today still charge for an implementation fee or a usage fee. And a lot of businesses, especially small businesses, don't want to do the mental math of trying to calculate how much it's going to cost them. They want some sort of value, right? So let's say about 2 years ago, we've seen a combination of all three fees. So you cost $2,000 for us to set you up, and then it's going to be a $300 per month, and the usage rate is going to be 20 cents per minute. Two years ago, that's okay, right? Because it was fairly new and people were still adjusting to how the price. But nowadays, typically for a project that takes you less than 8 hours or 12 hours to set up, my recommendation is obviously to read the room and to avoid pricing with an implementation or a usage fee if the customer is already hesitant. By way of example, right, you walk in the room and you say, we typically charge $2,000 for the setup, but at the moment we're currently doing a special and we're only charging a $400 per month a reoccurring fee. This fee will cover the maintenance, the addition, and you will have me as your contact person if something does go wrong, and you'll cover for everything. By way of example, we have a general pricing guide that you can find on our blog. It's called White Label AI Profit Margins. And what I want to talk about here is that a lot of people that we've seen still are stuck with the billing approach from 2 years ago, where you charge an implementation fee, a monthly reoccurring sort of retainer fee, plus a usage fee. This is fine for certain customers, but for the customers on the lower end, and they are a bit more price sensitive, you're probably going to kill the deal if that's sort of what you go in with, right? There are a number of approaches to go in with. The first one is, if you want to do an implementation fee and you can see and you can hear the customer being hesitant about, oh, I got quoted, whatever X amount by a different company and it was too expensive, or my business is starting off and I don't know if it's something I can afford. This is sort of a value or cost sensitive customer. And typically I will go in and say, what we'll do is if we sign up with us this month, we'll waive the implementation fee and it'll just be a $300 per month fee going forward. So that's one approach for a price sensitive customer. There's another approach where it's value based. And this is typically for a customer who is getting a reasonable amount of business, but they're still a little bit stingy when it comes to the cost. We will typically say something like, okay, instead of charging a monthly, we can do a per booking basis. We'll charge you, let's say, $5 per booking. Each one of your bookings is going to bring you $500. So if you were to not pick up the phone, you're going to walk away with losing $500 as opposed to $5 and getting $495, right? So the customer, most of the time, are like, that makes a lot of sense. Once you explain that to them, basically none of our customers have opted for the value base because they know each one of their leads is so much more valuable. By way of example, we had a client in our school community, and he was building for an arborist. And the arborist was incredibly busy, and they couldn't pick up calls because they were cutting trees. They were just driving a particular machinery, and they will get calls through. They will get up to 2 or 3 calls per week that they will miss. And when the particular school member asked them, so how much do each one of these leads get you? It's like, $5,000, $6,000, and you miss up to 2 to 3 of these per week. That's $12,000 you potentially miss, and that falls through your fingers every week. And how much is $500 a month worth to you if you were to never miss any of these phone calls? And the guy literally said, shut up and take my money, because this is something that they absolutely need and can't do without, and that is a lot of lost revenue that is going to another business. Now, the fourth point is sort of not having a white label. This is important because you need to give off the impression that you've done this before and this is not your first rodeo, and you actually have a lot of clients that are paying you and you're good at what you do. Having a shop front, just like having a good looking website, helps build the trust between you and the customer. And having a white label that has all the tools a customer might need, like proper invoicing, proper agent dashboards, the ability to add different integrations natively, and be able to support a customer with a proper ticketing system. these are the things that will help you retain the customer. So maybe you get a customer to sign up for a month and you present them basically a VAPI or a retail account, and they sign in and do what they need to do. And then after a month, they'll be looking at this guy's clearly not even doing this professionally, he's just doing it as a side hobby, I'm just going to do it myself. We've seen a lot of people churn as a result of not having their own branded looking product. And that's where sort of Trillet comes in really handy. But it's really important that you have your own white label. There are a couple out there, but for us, we built Trillet to basically support agencies so that they can have their full operations and all the business needs met within the platform. And the last one is the perpetual preparation trap. A lot of people are learning forever and never selling. And that is a bit of a problem because understand, the AI space is moving incredibly rapidly and there's constantly going to be a knowledge gap. And a lot of people are learning different platforms and they're learning different skills, different integrations and all of that, how everything works. But they never actually start when really all they need is a very basic agent like, we've just shown in the past. And like inside the Trillet platform, you can literally create an agent, from business. For example, let's say I'm working with a lawyer in, let's say, San Francisco, right? I'm just gonna copy any one of these law practices, right? You pop their website in. It's going to look up their particular business, and then you select a voice and you generate the entire agent ready for you to go. But while this is happening, a lot of people are just scared to get started, and you don't need a whole lot to get started. And you might have questions like, oh, where do you get leads? Well, you can literally run a Facebook ad and on average it takes around $20 to get your first customer. We don't talk about lead, we're talking your first paying customer, and it's not overly difficult. So, at this particular point, people just need to sort of do instead of just constantly learning and justify them learning as a way of improving. So there needs to be an end to that. So while it's still generating in the background, right? So I want to show this is a real time, a summary of all of this. So perfection here, right? Perfection kills momentum. Over engineering clients when you need a simple win, which is basically this particular example at the start. And for not understanding the emotional sales, it's basically you don't always want to sell logic to emotional buyers. You need to understand when it is. Pricing too low, it's the race to the bottom if you're constantly undercutting each other. We have a sort of a rough cost guide on our blog that you guys can take a look at, and the white label is sort of like a cost of doing business, right? And also, and my last point is perpetual preparation trap. I have just spun up an agent, right, in the span of probably 45 seconds to a minute, and I'm able to now just go through the knowledge base. He knows everything about the business, the emails, everything, like all of their emails, their phone numbers, right? The intake questions a particular law firm might ask to pre-qualify their callers, right? All the service and offerings all natively built. So I'm just going to show you literally a 30-second just to show you what it looks like. And also, while we're here, right, we can send meeting links to the customers. We can automatically send a SMS or an email when the phone call is complete, all native within the platform. So for us, there are already tools out there that you don't have to basically learn and try to build all of these complicated flows when really the very basic is what really gets you the deal. So I just want to show you guys, how it sounds and how it
Thank you for calling Trevor Cottle Law Practice. How can I help you today?
I just spun this up without any guidance whatsoever, and this is 80%. You still have to do the 20%. Yeah,
Hey.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How can I help you today?
Yeah, I just got involved in like a trademark issue, and I'm just wondering if you can help me with that.
Okay, I can certainly help you with that. Let me just get a few details so the team can better assist you when they call back. Are you interested in a new trademark application, assistance with an existing trademark, or our trademark watch service?
So basically, he already knows all about the business. Obviously, you still have to fine tune a little bit, right? But I'm just sharing with you guys how 80% or 90% of the questions and what is involved is already done with something like this. So that really, you don't have to perpetually prepare complicated flows for it to work. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. And I hope you guys learned a couple of things, and all the best with your AI automation journeys.